Hey Lemon Flux. So I saw your post on Reddit and I wanted to do a little video review. Um, I think the main reason that you're having trouble climbing right now is we're just not getting enough value out of Ramattra's kit. So your questions about like making space and peeling, like what it comes down to is you're not making as much space as you could be, and that's because your shields are not that great. That's the cooldown that really sticks out. And then because your shields aren't that great, your Nemesis usage isn't that great. And that's because a lot of the time you don't have a shield to play around, which can help reduce some of the damage that you take. And like on top of that, you're not really. I think you're kind of using it because like the enemy gets close to your team, but we're not really looking for opportunities to make plays with Nemesis, which is like a big reason you use it is like you see something like a Moira fades and she ends up close enough for you to reach where you can punch her and she can't block the damage, right? Um, and so you kill her. Or there's people lined up and they're trying to push all through like a narrow thing and you can hit them with the cleave. Yeah. And then on top of that, you don't really block enough in Nemesis. You tend to block when you have like a third health and no armor. And Nemesis, like the block, it it benefits. If you have armor, it blocks even more damage, and it's like pretty ridiculous. You take very, very, very little damage. Um, so those things combined are making it really hard for you to kind of push back the other team. Yeah. And something that happens in sort of the overtime in this game is you spend way too much time just punching the other tank who's on Rhine when they have armor, especially, and it's just you're not even gonna get on the pull back with that damage. It's very 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 low, and it's just kind of a waste of your time. And so it's not just that the Rhine is making space for his team being like kind of behind you and swinging on your team and stuff. It's also that you're not stopping the rest of his team from doing anything or finding picks onto his back line. Um, and so then you just sort of lose these trades. Um, so I made a video like yesterday, but I thought it was like a little unfocused. So this one I'm trying to be a little more focused um, and just kind of model what I want you to do in terms of like looking at your own replays. Since you say that you look at your own replays, that's really great. I want you to basically skip to every time you use shield and Nemesis. Basically, when you use Nemesis, maybe go back a little and see where your shield was, or if you had it on cooldown. Because I think if you can fix this thing, you'll get a lot more value, and it'll be like a lot easier for you to climb. So this fight, like the May gets a good wall. We use our Nemesis. It's effective because he doesn't have armor, right? And even that shield's pretty good. So far so good, right? The one thing I'll point out is just it's not terribly valuable. Even like this is a provisional position, right? These guys, their problem to solve right now is to cross this bridge, which is a choke, right? They can't take cover on the left or right, and get to the cart and then push around this corner. And on D, we can always just back up, try to fight here, and then we can back up, and this choke is very, very strong as well. Yeah, holding this corner. Especially because we can spam down this sight line with our wizard mode. Yep. So fighting here is fine, but not if we die for it. And on every fight, also, we really want to get at least 2 good fights, like on every point on defense. And as a tank, that's your biggest job. That'd be a big flux there. Or sorry, not a flux. What is it called? Vortex. That would be a big vortex too. Uh, with vortex, I want to see you anticipate a little more, like try to get big ones, or try to pick someone out and like where are they gonna go instead of where are they, aim at where they're gonna run to or back out to. So here, it's kind of bad decision making, right? We lost a DPS, um, and we saw like a group of them, I think, but we really want to be like if we want to hold here on this corner, we want to be kind of here and punching. But probably we're thinking we might need to back up, hold this corner. And it's like unfortunate with the Junkrat trap, but we didn't really have a plan to back out here, and so we die. Oh, and I should do the thing I said I want you to do, which is so a shield. So a good shield is one that's as far up as you can get it without them being able to just walk through it. Unless you're doing something really specific, like cutting off Zarya's heals. So usually you want to shield the place you're going to fight over, if that makes sense. So that you have the option when the shield goes up to go Nemesis and start punching. Like we could probably bubble dance, punch this Junkrat. And in general, with your Nemesis, I want you to find this Junkrat more often, especially when he uses his concussive blast or mines, right? Because that's his escape. If he ends up near you and he doesn't have that, he's kind of a free kill for you, right? There aren't that many free kills on his team. I guess if you notice Juno like too close and she's used her abilities, you know, track glide, and then there's the rings. And I guess if you notice Lucio, sometimes they think they're more squirrely than they are, and you can hit like a vortex on them, and they're good. So looking at this Nemesis here, like, right, they don't care about the shield. Yeah, they're just walking through it. But if you'd been Nemesis here and just punching as they come through there, that's a lot of damage if you stuff them in their hole, right? So you're just a bit tunneled on this Junkrat, and where you end up in a bad position there. So it's kind of like the reason I started over the videos is kind of like two problems that feed into each other, which is just like your Nemesises aren't that effective, and it's because you either don't use your shield or it's a bad shield. And I'm not sure if you're thinking about playing around it, using it as a tool to help with your Nemesis. Let's fast forward. So like this shield. I think you see the Pharah, a little low health. The thing is, she's like on high ground. She's in cover. They don't really have anything that's gonna chase her down from where the card is. Let her worry about herself. This is about as far up as you can get the shield from this position. It's just not worth the time. We probably want a Nemesis out of this, because again, we want to like arrive in time to get our fight. And the shield is going to be more valuable, like behind this Arya would be really strong because it would block off her heals. Or just to use it for a piece of cover like this flower box, bush box, that we can fight over and use. Because if we can win a fight and then take this corner, we're in a really good situation, right? The other thing is just versus Zarya versus tanks, Ryan too. You need to be really focused on trying to spam them down a little, like at range. They really suck at crossing like large distances, like this big open space. And you're not going to kill them, but you're trying to force a bubble or two, so that by the time they get to where they want to be, they can't do that much. Yeah, and they can't use those bubbles to like peel. So now we don't have the shield, right? So we can't really push them off the corner, but it's fine. This fight can be really good for us if the, especially the payload gets kind of into here and we can start to use it for cover. The spawn distance is like much shorter for us than them. So we can hard hold on this point. Happens quite a lot, like if we can be smart about using our ults and just play a bit patiently. Just knowing, like, the longer a fight goes, the more likely you are to win, and it kills their clock. So how is this shield used? So get our next shield. Yeah. So you see how this shield's kind of bad? Like, we're peeking a sightline and it's not covered by it, and we're taking a fair amount of damage because of it. And you can kind of get blown up in wizard mode, especially against, like, snipers, like big burst damage, like a Sojourn Rail. Much better with your shield, if you're going to use it for this kind of thing, to make sure it's attached to a wall so that you can poke with it. You can use the shield to get maybe a wide peek, but you can back off and you still have this corner to jiggle peek after it runs out. But also, it's like, it's maybe a little early. It's maybe not worth it to shield right now, right? They're gonna fight you here, but they're not exactly trying to walk through here yet, because the payload is still rounding this bend, right? Like, they're playing kind of dumb because this is their cover and they're all out of cover. To me, like, if you throw your shield about now and Nemesis and the shield's a little more up, like here, we could be Nemesis and probably get a kill on one of these two guys. They're way too close to us, right? Or just force the Zarya back and punch and block and punch and block. And here we're kind of giving a lot of space and taking a lot of damage when the fight's close quarters and we have Nemesis. And Rialto do really keep managing to find these Junkrat traps. But you can see the general idea. This is a good shield. Pretty good. We probably could have gotten away with it further up, even, because we're pushing him back. But it's fine. And here, we had Nemesis again. We're half health anyways. Let's make our healers not stress out. And we're up to cleanup, yeah. We can go after this Zarya, make sure she doesn't do anything. We can go after this Juno. We get movement speed, right? But fine. Now we have ult. So, like I was saying about long sight lines, I don't know why we're coming back here. We want to be looking for these long sight lines to see if we can get some value in our poke. So, coming up here to poke this, look at this guy. That's such an easy kill, especially if you throw a flux behind him. And okay, we push the Junkrat back so he can't go that way, and then they come out, you know, over this way like normal. We can poke this sight line, right? And if they try to overrun our position, we shield and Nemesis, and we have this cover to work with too. So much of climbing on tank is just doing more damage than you take and looking for opportunities where you can do more damage than you take. So kind of waiting for them to, like, not contesting this space at all which is wide open, and waiting for them to like walk out to this corner is it's just really passive and it's not doing anything for you. You at least want to try and get some sort of resources out of them. Zarya bubbles probably primarily, but we could also get, if we damage someone a lot, we maybe get a Lucio amp out, maybe get a speed ring out, maybe we get the roll out from the Cassidy, kind of anything. We're just trying to put a little tax on them. Here, when we maybe wanted to Nemesis and block. Again, like this shield, it doesn't help you take space. Yeah. This is, I think, like the root of your pawns. You're shielding places that you don't need to take, right? You want to shield the space you're about to contest here, right? Cut this Zarya off a bit. And then we can get more value from our Nemesis. We can look to punch. This guy's an idiot. We just flex him and punch him. He's dead. Right? Or that guy. That guy's an idiot too. And we're really looking for the idiots. That was fine. We could look to flex when there's an ult like that. We could flex. We just Nemesis and kill these guys. Now, the difference between that and feeding is like, you have this corner here. And you have block. And probably not worth, but the worst comes worse, you have ult. This is actually like an okay shield. It's not like the best shield you could have had, but it's like, it lets you do something you wouldn't otherwise do. Just go for these cleanup kills. Like, you might not get them, but you get to go for them. And again, we're just like, we're playing in this open space here. Right? You're literally like right next to cover here. Like this. Maybe even a little better. And we're going to be spamming that, and we know their other options are like this long flank over here, which we discussed, right? Or they have to come out this little door, and if you've been like looking for it and set up for it, we could just spam the Zarya, like make it really hard for her to walk. Here, looking for a shield on the grab is probably the play. Or Nemesis and block, like into the grab. Or you make a judgment call, like she's not going to get any kills from that. I'm going to Nemesis, like use my shield Nemesis and stop these guys from walking up. Whenever a tank is like way ahead of their team, that's a decision. Like, usually it's a much, much better play to just stop them from getting any help whatsoever. Because, like, one tank on their own, your team should be able to survive that. Yeah. But instead, look at the position we've let them get into, right? Again, they've taken all of this space on the map. You haven't been doing that much damage, and you're at very low health, right? But we do also have we have ult, right? And so we're backing up into here without blocking. Like, this is wide open. Why aren't we just holding this? Holding this earlier. And furthermore, we're in this bad spot and we Nemesis. We just block. We just block. We let our healers heal us, and then we look to punch. And then we can look to ult and get even more health, get a little extra life, right? final thing, we had shield here. If you'd thrown a shield, probably like this angle, we could probably hold here. Yeah. So I think this is one of the clearest ones in terms of just like, we're just using our abilities incorrectly. Right? We like, kind of know when we're supposed to do them, but we don't really make the best choices when push comes to shove. Okay, so at this point, same story, we want 2 fights. In these situations where we've been wiped on like a defense, we want to make sure we spawn as 5. So usually we go to some place we don't want them to be and try to like stop them from doing it. So that would be like here, yeah. We can keep this high ground clear. We have a very strong way to hold this choke. Yeah. You know, sometimes you can hold kind of more like here. But most teams like we hold this choke. And for now you're up here and then you drop. Yeah, because you're Ramattra. This is a good shield that you take way too long to aim. This is fine too. We can block. We just block and back off. We're not gonna get anyone in this area, but we've, you know, we've accomplished our mission. We've gotten in a back off here. All of those punches, like you could, since Alicia wasn't running away from you, you could just block and then punch and block and then punch and then block and then punch, and you take way less damage. We could also be looking for like our vortex. We really would have liked to have shielded before we did this ult, because we had it. But it's fine. Nemesis is ridiculous. We vortex. A rush shield there. You throw it way up, like over here. Yeah. Try to throw the shield for where you want to be, where you're trying to push to. And then by the time it expires, you have some sort of cover. Like this is a cleanup situation, so it's a little different. The cover is backing off from the bridge because you get lower and it like kills the sidelines. But you have some sort of cover to like sit by, and then you've taken more space. Yeah. Nice. It's really important to kill Zarya so she doesn't get energy between fights. This shield, not so good. Right? It can kind of just walk through it. We didn't need to do it that early, I think, primarily. But again, like, we're shielding to help us get where we want to go. Probably we don't want to hold this far up the whole time. So, like, a more passive shield when we start taking a lot of damage is probably good. Shoot them until you take a lot of damage and then shield. I think maybe that's the thing, is the shields are, like, early. This is pretty much what's supposed to happen. I mean, Nemesis. We're lucky with this tire. We look to block the tire. But there, we're just punching the tank too much. So here, again, we Nemesis without throwing our shield. The shield goes on cooldown when we use it, and we use Nemesis. And we can't use the shield Nemesis, so it's like a free value you're leaving on the table. And let's just look. The Moira is way too close to you. Yeah. Same with the Cass. Same with the Juno. If he wants to jump in with like 1 health, that's his problem. You can't catch him, right? Much more valuable to punch and probably block and just keep the payload here. You maybe can kill this Kiriko with the Curie ult that you have. But much more valuable to just block and stop payload and let her heal you because she's potted to heal you. Right. So we turn her back on a bunch of damage choices here. And we're already at low health because we didn't shield. Right? And we could have blocked earlier. So I think that one's a pretty good example too. Skip ahead. Oh. Here's another early shield. What is that shielding? And how does that help you walk on them? You're trying to get a second fight in, right? And stop this payload. Because again, your spawn distances are better than theirs. If you guys get a kill, even if you lose 2, like a 2-for-1 trade, that's still worth it. And also, Nemesis makes us run faster. So in this kind of stall situation, you might be worried that you won't have it when you need it, but we really need to burn it like immediately because we need to beeline and help our team touch and contest point. So the better cycle would have been Nemesis. We get kind of here. We look for a shield kind of here, right by the payload and where we want to be. We look for maybe a vortex on a payload. And we provide some pressure, like their Winston's in, right? So they have to deal with us alone. And we can just block on the payload and let our team kind of like come up and help us. Maybe punch if we can, but mostly block. We're looking to live. Yeah. So no shield, bad shield means we can't walk through that choke. So even though we win this fight, like, it's pretty bad for us because we just lost the point, right? Here, this is a kind of fine shield. They walk through it. It's maybe like a little too forward. But, you know, it is about to expire. Right? We're fine. Our Juno dies. It's kind of just a late Nemesis. I don't remember if you win this or not. So we see this. We have the shield. Imagine if you Nemesis here. Cleave all 4 of these guys. As what, 4 times 90? 360 damage a punch. Right? No healer can keep up with that. We have punch, go around a punch. Could really get them to back off. Especially because we just saw Winston burn his jump, right? His shield does nothing. Or a Nemesis to hold here, right? You're close range with Nemesis. So coming back here to sort of the middle of the choke, and then trying to take this space again, I just set you up to take like a bunch of your damage. It means that there isn't as much space for your team, because they can all just shoot down this choke, and your team has to like walk back up without anyone else for the other team to look at. So yeah, that's why I went back, is just to illustrate like we're just kind of not really reading the cues. So we need to pot this thing, especially because we have like the morale going, right? Like, we generated picks off this, but we're pretty late to the party, and we could have probably held to, well, at least our Pharah not get picked so easily. We can look for a Flux on this Winston. Again, bad shield. Yeah, you got boot. You ruined your aim. We want to fight over this payload. They're kind of winning this fight. So at least we'll get a bunch of resources out. We want to shield, like, kind of here. Something that we can, like, dance around. And, or that makes it really hard for them to heal Winston, probably. We're gonna lose this fight. That's fine. Now they finally get to start their push. The only problem with taking a fight like this committed into a space that really, like, unless we do a really good job of holding this kind of like a stretch, really, like, they have this whole strong flank here. It's really hard to hold here. We really wanted to be fighting to have a hold like here, where defenders get free high ground basically, and the attackers, their lane options kind of suck. Like, they can push payload through here, but then their other lanes are like this really long one. It's super obvious. This one, it's super obvious because someone can just defend it from up here. And then, like, this kind of thing that, sure, they come out in the high ground, but if you're standing here, it doesn't make that big of a difference if someone's down there or out there, right? So now that we've kind of conceded that, we're probably fighting, like, in the doorway. Like, to this final room. I don't remember what this thing is. It's in a museum. Church? Church. We're fighting in... We're really gonna try and hold this hallway here. Again, like, what did you see for that shield? Yeah, it's a long cooldown. It doesn't last long. Need to be more thoughtful with it. This doesn't help you do anything, right? I like this. We could have blocked more. See, the whole thing is, like, we don't get that much killing them here. Unless we're, like, sure we can kill them. The flank itself was really good. We want to look for these short flanks on Ramattra, these, like, opportunities to pop up behind and catch our team really close like this. This is, like, perfect. But I think once they're scattered, like, about here, unless we really see a chance, and they've got the flux going. Especially because there's not been any shield to help us, like, get this stuff done. Or if we saw, like, a great flux opportunity. And we just need to be blocking more. We're fighting just in this open space. Right? Look how much damage you take here. And, like, they don't even, like... You don't have to push here. You want to stop them from touching the payload. Even just if you've been Nemesis, if you've been ulting and you were more like here, punching and just blocking, because a big value of this ult is that you just stay in Nemesis with your block ability and a million armor, as long as they're anywhere near you, right? So we're not too effective, and it just gives them this free push through what is the hardest choke to push through on this map, right here, right? And now it's here, suddenly your team is in a bad situation, because now they have to cross through all this empty space to get to the payload. And their team, even though they're not doing it, they can just sit behind this payload. It's really good cover and sight lines. They have these other good lanes right here. Can be like a brutal crossfire. So it's like a bad Nemesis. Again, no shield. Oh, there is a shield. It's just terribly aimed. No offense. Shield the space we're gonna fight over. Needed a block more. It was 1v5, right? We're not gonna kill anyone punching. We need to be blocking and using cover. And we're just trying to stall. So I think that's around. And then let's just skip here. So your main problem on attack is like, this is really, I mean, your team needs to help you, and you guys are staggering pretty fierce, which is like a metal rank problem and sucks. But also, you are really not using your abilities to help you cross this space very well. It seems like you don't have a sense of like when it's your turn to take space, because you have your shield and you have your Nemesis, or someone scored like a big shot. There's like a DPS crit or a support crit or something, or right. So let's look ahead here. So reverse Ryan, like this shield, kind of fine if you don't spend a million years aiming it, but it's early. It's gonna like protect your team from Junkrat spamming from a million miles away. They should be able to dodge that. Yeah. And you have cover to play behind, right? It's just like super low value. I think it's good to look to push people off of that high ground. And again, like, why aren't we just playing this here and looking for this Junkrat? For me personally, I first of all maybe don't need to push Nemesis because they're not trying to contest quite yet. And the Ryan, like, it's really important when he uses his charge, because if he charges somewhere, then you know he can't come back and peel for you, like peel you. But he's not contesting, so we don't need the Nemesis yet. And we could have gotten a shield, and we could have like shield vortex Nemesis through here. Or just even seeing this when you did, I would have maybe just Nemesis to gone straight for here. Try to get this Ryan, stop him from using this corner. Right? That Junkrat should die. Nice. But again, like, in wizard mode, if we're close to him, he does more damage than us. If we're far away, we do way more damage to him than he does to us, right? Because he can't reach us. We should be running down this guy. He's in, right? He's past us, but he's like half health. He's not going to do that much. We've got like a, 3-4v2 here. We need to stop this Ashe from doing anything to help out or swing the fight while everyone's looking at the tank. Especially because we want the space, right? And we got our shield. At the least, we should throw a shield here. And even if you are going to fight the tank, which again is a bad trade, you're just taking way more damage than you do. We're looking for the Mercy, not the Ren. Right? We're just punching the tank and walking that trap. Yeah. So do you see how that's like we're just tunneling on sort of the wrong thing? I think this is what you're talking about when you're talking about peeling. You peel a tank by stopping them from doing anything. And sometimes that's putting damage on them, but sometimes it's just stopping them from getting help. Right? Your main job on tank is to manage attention, to keep track of like who's looking where, and try to swing that in your favor. And Ryan is wrecking ball too. Like, but he's bad for you to look at in general because you just break in his shield and it doesn't do much. This shield, by the way, terrible, right? We want to cross this bridge. We need the shield to help us cross the bridge. So we try to cross the bridge as far as we can. Maybe we can push him back with spam or a vortex like behind him. And if we can't, we shield like sort of here. So we can Nemesis to here. Or stand here until there's an opening for Nemesis. Yeah, kind of like this. But if we had our shield, this would be a lot easier. We see them behind. Again, why are we punching this guy? He's behind us. We can't reach him. We do 0 damage to him. This person's one shot. This person can die. This person can die. You're about to have vortex. Or at the least we blocked. Right, we just turned her back on a bunch of damage from them. Let's keep going. Here we get into a bit of a stagger. I understand the shield, but it's blind and rushed. And we have a turret mode Bastion. We just try to maybe vortex behind him. I guess we did. We honestly just try to walk in him. You're overextended, buddy. I'm going to shield here, cut off all your help, and we're just going to kill you. You love these Junkrat traps. We should block, right? So the problem on attack is you're finding yourself in these positions with no cover, and you're looking behind you. So you just take a bunch of damage, and you're not blocking. Here we go. Not a bad shield. Why not try to use his cover to poke a bit? When we rounded the corner, I think we could have seen this Ash. I could look right at her. Okay, right here. I would be just spamming this guy. Try to see if I can force anyone back. They're holding this stupid position. If our team gets back and can shoot them, they're going to have to walk back. We're not in a rush to like shield because then we're not going to have it, right? And we're just trying to break the Rhine shield. This is a decent idea with the flex. But we're really just looking at this Rhine, we're hyper fixated, and these other guys are just wailing on you and your team. Right? I think on Ramattra, at least versus this tank, versus Rhine, you need to get the idea of peeling a little out of your head. You want to force him to shield instead of walk forward. And you want to force him into situations where he's low and he has to shield, and you can just punch him and kill him for free. You do that by winning the resource battle with him, which isn't just his shield health and his health. It's like the help he gets from his team. Also an early shield. Like, what could you do with the shield that you wouldn't have been able to have done just... They wouldn't be able to do just shooting, shooting. Now we see like low health people and stuff like that. And now if we shield behind them, we can just Nemesis and run on them. Again, it's like not a bad time. It's kind of a bad time to Nemesis. No one's near you. But there's no reason to pull back here. We need to be going probably forward to help our Moira. Like, look at this gigantic opening. What was that shit? Right? If we want to cut off the Rhine, back here. Maybe here. And now we're in a situation where we think about Nemesis punching it down. This is the only reason you're able to push it all on this. I don't mind this ult here. We love these traps. You threw it right in front of you, right? Throw it to where she's gonna run. She's gonna go to cover. Everyone, if they're in the open, they're gonna go to the nearest cover. Flex here and you get this kill. Or it's a flex, a vortex, whatever. Here, we could just indulge her. We could just Nemesis and go kill her. She's dumb. And come back. But again, we want to hold something like this. This angle. This angle, so we're close enough to use our Nemesis. Because this bridge is a brutal choke for them, right? It's a long stretch where they have to walk in a straight line. And we love that. We love distance. It's our advantage over Ryan, right? I also think just in general with your gun, you can be looking for headshots more. Here's another good example. These guys are super vulnerable. The Ryan charged away, can't help them. If we're looking to take space, we get a flux, a vortex, or whatever down here. Yeah. We can push them. We can use our shield kind of up. We can use our Nemesis if we want. Again, like, look how little damage we've done to this guy, right? I'm glad you punched his tire. But we're, like, walking away from the space that we need to take. Right? It's this dude will mess up your team. That dude, too. This Ryan wants to be behind you like this? Like, fine. Had her shield there. I think we were going for it and we're just slow. Block here. Block their big source of damage. I guess they don't have that much damage. But still, we Nemesis, we're looking behind us at this guy. We Nemesis, we kill her easily. Especially with Vortex. Or we punch this guy. He's kind of immobile. We could have blocked. Because they're not trying to chase anyone. So, anyway, I talked a little about sort of map and win condition and all that, but what I really, really want you to do is stop shielding so goddamn early, and be more careful with these shield placements. I think you just need some repetition on it, but right now what's holding you back is really, really like ability usage and getting a lot more out of your abilities and getting good shields that do something that we couldn't otherwise do as shield. They help us fight for a place we want to go, help us get to a place without taking a bunch of damage. Um, and then better Nemesis. Use our block more proactively when we have armor, so the damage reduction is crazy. Yeah, instead of like, oh shit, I better block now. And Nemesising, like looking for the right targets. We're really, really ineffective on attack here. I think this shows really clearly because we're not we're not punching something that we have a good chance to kill. And it doesn't mean you have to get kills. People run away or use a cooldown, that's your value. And we do that to like hold a corner or something like that. On your 3rd point defense, I think there's like a couple clear times the 1st point defense where we're sort of tunneling some sort of kill or like we need to kill the team and we don't. We're on defense. Every second that passes by that we're alive is a good second for us. And then like the bad shield usages make you take more damage in Nemesis and not do as much. You would be way, way punished if they were playing something like Ana and she was like hitting her sleep darts, hitting her nades into you because you're going Nemesis, making yourself a really big target without cover or shield. So those are 2 things I want you to work on. Just when you look at your replays, look at your shields, look at your Nemesis. Did I do something I couldn't have otherwise done? Could I have just shot? Would have been better off shooting, right? And then also like when you're shooting a tank, an alarm bell needs to go off in your head. Is there literally anything else I could be doing right now? It's fine to force some resources from a tank. It's fine to take the free poke, like versus tanks like Zarya or even Rhine, where you outrange them, right? Situations where we do more damage than we take, you need to find those a lot more and use your abilities to help create those situations. But then, like when the fight's actually happening, if we're shooting a tank, we're keeping our eyes peeled for the best thing we can do next. We force a teleport and a Suzu. Now we can kill the Kiri. We pod Nemesis, we kill the Kiri, right? It's much more of like a pounce ability. And looking for the times where it worked. I think like that short flank on 3rd point defense, it was kind of the right idea. It was just that you didn't really have a plan for if you couldn't generate kills, right? Sometimes the positional advantage is fine. We would have been way better off just falling back to this really good defensive position and letting them solve the problem of pushing into you because they're on attack and that's what they have to do. So I hope that helps and let me know if you have questions and good luck out there.